Jump into it.
Welcome to the Let It Bleed podcast, a place where you can hear the liquor-fueled ramblings of two narcissistic wizards who conjure the essence of inspirational people every week and bring it straight to you.
And just how do you plan on doing that?
What's that?
Magic. Motherfucker.
And now for the wizards themselves, David Amaya and Phil Arroyo.
Well,
That was me forgetting to mute the other tracks. Sorry. What's up?
Nothing.
Hey.
It's just another day, and I'm hungry now. All of a sudden,
Really?
like really hungry.
And why is that?
Well, that's because we talked about. We didn't actually even really talk too much about the specific, like meals or anything that I'm gonna go devour after this. But it's just
It was it's a little bit highbrow for your typical palate.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I do go to Taco Bell every now and then, so I'm pretty high class. But...
And that's now a client of his. So
There we go. Yeah. So we had a really cool show today. My buddy from elementary school, Bobby Navarro, actually came on the show today and talked about this business that he started. And much like the way we really like to promote people on this show, people who, just kind of fell into something and realized that they were passionate about it and just took off with it. They took a huge leap. He's one of those people. He, runs, what do you say, like 4 different?
it's becoming 4 different companies now, but it's 100 Inc., which is actually the head of the octopus that branches out. No, 100 Inc. is the agency. 100 Eats is the original blog / challenge / adventure, the self-imposed kind of Mad Men adventure that he put himself on.
Yeah,
that spawned a whole lifetime of creative fulfillment.
You just never know stuff. You never fucking know, where it can go and what can happen. So if you're passionate about something and you come up with a cool idea, just fucking do it.
Yeah,
just get out there and do it. And if you have to figure out the legalities of the thing and figure out how to write like a fucking 65-page paper to start your fucking business, you better go Google that shit.
You sound like you're giving a pep talk to a drug dealer right now. And if you have to figure out the legality later, that's fine, okay?
Well, no, I'm saying because that's what he was saying on there. He very much was like, you get your ass over there and Google that shit, figure it out, because that's definitely inspirational to me for people who have ideas, too many ideas, and then just kind of get the point, oh, well, yeah, I need somebody to do that for me. Get out there and do it.
Yeah, no,
you can
just
do it.
Learn how to do it yourself, man. No, it's crazy how many, how much mine and his mentality is kind of lined up.
Yeah.
And we had like a equal but opposite life trajectory.
Right.
So I started in marketing and advertising and agencies and stuff like that, and then somehow ended up in restaurants. And his was the other way around, doing that. And so we had a lot in common, a lot to talk about this one.
Yeah.
And he's a really cool dude.
Absolutely. Super fun. Just came on right away, high energy, and he just got back from Belize and he was like, yeah, I'm down. Come tomorrow night. Let's hang out. Let's do it.
I like that. I respect anybody who's everybody else, myself included, would just be like, "Oh fuck, I just got back from a big trip. I don't know if I can."
Well, it sounds like
but
he
this
does
is the
a
kind
lot
of guy,
too.
Yeah, this is the kind of dude that that doesn't surprise me at all now after talking to him for an hour.
Humble as hell.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And that's what's awesome. And I was stoked because it was actually on my 28th birthday, 3 or 4 years, 27, 28, I don't remember. It was one of those birthdays that he stopped by. I posted on Facebook. I was like, yeah, come by. And I hadn't seen him in a long time. And he came by and he was telling me about all of this stuff. And I was just so stoked on it. And it just stuck with me. And then I thought the other day, why haven't I fucking hit up Bobby? What the fuck? And so it was, I hit him up and he's like, oh, I can't do it this week because I got to go somewhere. And literally the next week, he's like, I'm back. Let's do the thing. Okay, cool.
Dude, he's a go-getter, man. He's somebody that gets shit done. And I just always respect that in somebody. So that is cool. So,
and that he also showed us that, he, what did he say, 100 pounds that he lost?
Yeah, he lost 100 pounds in 9 months.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
While still, doing this job.
While doing this challenge. He's just real good at integers, like base 10 math systems. He can do anything as long as there's 100 of it,
Yeah. That's pretty, now that you mentioned that, that's pretty awesome. Well, so anyways, I hope that everybody that's listening to this, if you are a foodie or, somebody who likes to go and explore Definitely follow his shit.
They're just looking for some motivation to be a self-starter.
As well.
I mean, you don't have to look at it's not all like literally food. There's a lot of kind of crossover stuff. Maybe you'll find your number. Maybe your number is 23, and you can do anything in the world as long as it's in a multiple of 23.
There you go. And that's what I'm saying. So if you like food and you just want to know like bomb places to go fucking eat around here, follow all of his Instagram things. He's got 100 Eats at 100 Eats. Also, Bobby Been There is his other Instagram account.
His personal one, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then 100 Inc. for his agency side stuff. Oh, also he's working with Food Beast, which is a very, I think there's probably not a lot of people that will have to tell about that one because they got 700,000 followers over there. But that's, the big publication that he works very close in tandem with.
That's the nonprofit that?
No. That's like the publication that he's like working with, the one that approached him.
And he also has the nonprofit.
You should listen to this episode.
Yeah.
You'll really learn.
Yeah, you'll learn a lot. But the nonprofit is really, that's one of the things that I found was really fucking cool because that is something that, these people are super underrepresented and being able to give back and give opportunities to people like that is fucking rad.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So it's a great episode. Please stay tuned, beyond us rambling to check it out. Let's see anything. How was Art in the Park?
It was great, man. We had Art in the Park, a sign theme, and it was very last minute as usual because I am busy and take a long time to do this stuff. But
it's a sign of the times.
It's going to be a lot more organized from now on because I'm starting to reach out to people to help out a lot more than
as this thing's kind of becoming, bigger than just yourself. Becoming more of a production to do it that often, especially, when you're as busy as you are with just trying to stay above water.
And it's always been so much more than myself. I could have never done this without the help of so many people. It really is every single person that shows up that makes it what it is. But now that people see what it is, it's going to be easier to get people to want to, be part of it and to actually like come up with the concepts and come up with like ideas for things to do and ways that we can bring art to the community and inspire other people. So I'm really excited about that. We are going to be doing our year anniversary. This next month's going to be a pumpkin carving episode.
Cool.
Episodes. That's what I like to call them.
Pumpkin carving, not great podcast material, so we'll think of something else.
Yeah. And then it's going to, we'll think of something else for that. But then the next one is our year anniversary. So I'm kind of like already skipping a month in my mind. Trying to come up with something different for that. And then I'm also going to be in a show this Friday, so tomorrow, over at the Artist Colony in Fullerton with the Happy Joy, Patrick Pasquale. I haven't actually started my piece yet that I'm supposed to put in there.
Don't tell him that.
And it's going to be
whatever
really
you guys see, be that much more amazed. Because he hasn't started it.
I haven't started it because I'm that type of artist that knows about something. Even though it was only like about a week ago that I knew about it, I still was like, no, I want to work on this. My brain's like, no, you want to work on this piece instead. So anyways,
that's how you know you're a real artist.
Come check it out. Yeah, right.
And what's that called?
That is called, I don't even know the name of the event. It's just like a once a month thing that they do, and it's called the Artist Colony.
Okay, so if somebody goes on the Artist Colony, they find them on Instagram or some shit like that, they'll find it.
That's a good question. We'll have to post the links in the show, and let me go ahead and...
He's not going to send me the links.
Yeah.
Google it.
I Google it, and let me actually just look this up right now for you. Okay, so it's called Studio 33, actually, is the name of the place.
Okay.
So, and it's called, Thunderbolt Lightning Hotel 333. So Studio 333.
That sounds like somebody's like password that you wrote down.
Yeah.
Thunderbolt Lightning 33.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at this poster and it looks badass. And I've seen the layout already and it's going to be cool. So you should come out and support me because it's like one of the first really cool shows that I'm a part of.
That looks cool, man.
Yeah. And we got a couple things coming up in December, but we'll get, more to announcing that as it gets closer.
This is also the point in the show where I'm reminding everybody to register to vote online. Please, for the love of God, do it. Did you guys see what's been going on this week with them trying to ram this fucking frat boy, onto the Supreme Court so he can legislate on whether or not all of those fucks who are doing those weird performative, monologues on the Senate Judiciary floor are, not going to jail. So, I mean, it's absolutely fucking crazy to me, man. And actually, just before we went on, I saw a big thing that somebody actually got a bunch of the president's tax returns. And yeah, no, it turns out he's, obviously not a billionaire and has been like got most of his fortune from like tax schemes about to the tune of like $400 million like from his dad. So it's, oh man, this is like unfolding pretty quickly here. It's probably what I'm about to bury my nose back in as soon as we get off of this shit. But shit is going crazy right now. Everything's on fire.
It is.
We need to vote. Okay.
It really seems like to be the biggest pivotal point. I think this week is I've seen the most like rage and like just the biggest reaction to the shitty fucking thing that's going on in this world with everything going on. So people are finally starting to like really like. I think
the momentum is there. It's growing.
Yeah.
It's bigger than ever. We've got so many people that are running for office.
It's on its last leg for that.
Well, they're all acting as if they will not be in office ever again. And I think they're right, because it's becoming like undeniably obvious to the entire country that there is one, actual political party and one that is full blown like, kowtowing to a hostile foreign nation and is trying to loot the country on the way out, man. Like it is just so like it's would be so dishonest of me to even like pretend that there is a conversation anymore. It's not a debate. It's not politics. They're criminals, man. And it's, one thing that really, really hit home with me this week is I watched a documentary on Hulu that I recommend everybody do called Active Measures. And that was, I had known a lot of, kind of the story, about Russia and kind of what was going on, what their mentality is behind it, like in bits and pieces. But when it's all laid out there in 1 2-hour documentary, the relationship that, Trump has had with the Kremlin since like the 70s and how, Vladimir Putin kind of rose to power, and watching all these things they've done to, to the Republic of Georgia, to the Ukraine, to a lot of, a lot of spots around the country, and how they've ran this exact same kind of like internal political subterfuge by like doing exactly what they did here, which is divide the country, make everybody hate each other, and watch it crumble from within, and then install their own like puppet people into it. Like
stuff that they can't even make a movie out of. It's just so insane. Like it's more insane than any movie or any like show that they've ever had.
Yeah, it defies it, and it's real. There's literally a fucking book that lays out the entire plan, and what they've already done and what they'll probably continue to do. It's fucking crazy, man. It's very eye-opening stuff to anybody who really does not know, has not been following, who doesn't really understand what's going on. I recommend you go and check that out, because I've been sounding this alarm like crazy for fucking years, man. It feels like it's been fucking 10 years. But yeah, I cannot recommend that more to everybody. So go do that, and then go register to vote. Do it online. Register to vote by mail. Get that ballot. Send it in. And you're done. It's so easy.
When do they have to be registered by? Like, when's the cutoff date? Is there a cutoff date for that?
Well, you can register to vote online up until I believe it's the 22nd. So we're about 2 weeks away from that being over. And then you can register to vote. You can technically register to vote on the same day, but then you have to go to the county registrar's office to get registered. And I know nobody's going to do that. So that's why I'm saying vote now.
And are there any certain particular things that they have to claim that they are in order to vote for certain people? Or
no, in the general election, that's only for primaries. In the general election, anybody can vote for whoever they want.
Okay.
Shit, and now my internet goes down exactly this when I had it all written out. Let's see. Sorry. Here we go. Fill some time while I look at deadlines. What the fuck?
But either way, November it's coming up really quickly, and you don't want to be there and use these excuses as to the reasons why you didn't go out and vote and stop this crazy shit from happening.
Yeah, so. It's nuts. So all right, there's my little politics corner for the week.
Is that we're gonna call it the politics corner? The politic corner.
Oh no, I've got this little thing in the intros, and I promise. Okay, no, I'm not going to promise that. But after the election, I might light up on that a little bit when we can get back to talking happy, fun stuff. Because trust me, nobody wants to get back to that more than me.
Well, hey, it's part of the world, It's anybody who's paying any sort of attention to anything. I mean, you can't really escape it. No matter how much you try to avoid it, it's just you could feel the tension out there. It's insane.
Yeah, it's palpable, man. And it's culminating, and it's just this cleansing fucking fire because there's so much shit that's going on and all these people who are like, wanting to defend the frat boy serial rapist. Like, if you see too much of yourself in him, then, maybe you should be worried. Like, that's a problem, You might have to, like, be responsible for the, like, actions that you've taken and the damage you've done. It's just a week that's just been full of gross people that has rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
So please, everybody, get out there and do some voting.
Excellent. So, to lighten it up, we're going to get back into this conversation right now with Bobby, and we're going to talk about
now that I've laid some very happy, friendly groundwork. Sorry, Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby's going to listen to this and be like, oh,
like,
wow.
What the fuck? They just got real dark. Yeah. Just like your fucking...
Oh, yeah.
Your
What
dark descent into alcoholism as you were telling happy fun stories from your bartending time. Okay.
I think that people kind of enjoyed that, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, that
they're like, oh, we could relate to that.
That'll be left to be seen.
Yeah. But anyway,
right.
So, thank you guys for tuning in.
Subscribe to the show at Let It Bleedcast, Facebook,
Yes.
Twitter, Instagram. Myself, Phil Nobody Cares on Twitter. Nobody Cares Phil on Instagram.
Psychedelic Lions Den, Hood Rats Den. You hear the same thing. It'll be at the end of the show. You better listen to it. Otherwise, you're going to forget it and you're going to suck. So tell your friends about us. Make them like us. Tell them to tell their friends about us. We are not going to stop bugging you about this like ever, but we really expect to see,
until I have 7.2 billion followers.
Yes.
Everybody on Earth. That's the only time we'll stop.
If there's one person who taught me that can happen and to dream big, it's Bobby. So let's go ahead and jump into this conversation with Bobby. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you like us. And as always, let it bleed. We hope you like us. Get the party. Get the ball rolling.
And the party started.
That was like me. It's like right off the top of the bat. It's like wait, what?
That's not it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know it. I was just like saying it, and he told me, he's like, yeah, you kind of fucked that up. So how you doing, man?
Good. Just fresh off the boat from Belize.
Oh shit.
So that's pretty cool.
How many days were you there?
I was in 3 days in New York to produce an event for Hormel Chili, and then we went to Belize. Like 4 days in Belize.
What's the chili company?
Hormel.
Hormel?
Yeah, same company that does like Spam.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm like one of the few people I know that like actually like Spam. I wouldn't say that I like it. I'm just like not completely grossed out by it the way so many people are. I grew up. My grandma like used to just like. It was kind of like the Vienna sausage thing, like just like a cheap, like quick, easy meal. And like really, when you think about it, they're extremely disgusting. Like it's just like soggy, like
processed meat.
What?
Soggy
Yeah, processed, wet, soggy meat. But as a kid, you don't know any better. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
You just go for it.
I think I fell in love with Spam when Spam Masubis. I got my first like Spam Masubi. That's really good.
I can't even say that I've ever had one. To be honest with you.
It's like the fried Spam, and then they roll it with rice and like a soy glaze and like seaweed.
Okay.
It's like a really like Hawaiian, Polynesian delicacy, like snack that they like always eat,
Yeah. When was the first time you tried one of those?
We did PR for a poke spot like 3 years ago. So
do most pokes do Spam like stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, a lot of poke spots. That's where it kind of
like even the one I just had. What's it called? Right in the mix. What's that place called? The Terra. The hand roll place.
Oh, they're so good. But they're more like sushi. They're Japanese more.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
the hand rolls, it's a little different.
It is, okay, because I get the salmon poke. So I'm not like, obviously I'm going to get schooled today a lot. No. In a good way.
I just eat too much.
Well, I eat too much too, but I'm not knowledgeable about it. I'm just like, honestly, like a human garbage disposal. I'll eat just about anything. So, like for instance, like there was a sushi spot a couple weeks ago right before our friend that lives downstairs, before his engagement party. I went to a sushi spot. I'm not going to go ahead and just call it out and say which one over here, but
it sucked.
Well, like this just goes to show that I really just will eat anything and pay the consequences later. I don't give a fuck because I was just hungry, and I mean it seemed like it was good. It was like we got a couple like really, deep fucking fried rolls that were just like super bad for you. And this one came up with all this sauce on it, and it was. And my friend, she couldn't eat it anymore. She's just like, I can't. I gotta stop eating this. I'm done. Like it just doesn't. Something's not right about it. I'm like, all right, whatever. So then I just like doubled up and didn't fucking eat all of it still. And then the next day I was like, oh yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was like a little bit later on too, but like all throughout the whole next day, it was just like, okay, that was fucked up. But anyways, not to gross everybody out. We don't want anybody like getting disgusted and turned off by food because we have a real. Would you call yourself a foodie?
I guess that's a term.
What do you like to be called
now?
Like what is your job title? Like what do you?
Well, I own a event marketing company, so I guess I'm a CEO of an event marketing company.
Right on.
All right.
Yeah.
Agency guy, just happens to deal with a lot of food.
Yeah, a lot of food, all the time.
You went to Belize for vacation for pleasure, or did you go like for the event?
No, so it was actually my friend's birthday, so we spent the like end of the week in Belize, but the first half was for an event we produced with Hormel Chili. So
that's okay. So you went to New York for them, and then went over there. Right on. Cool.
Yeah, I like to double up on trips, when I can.
And so,
like, you gotta take advantage of that.
Yeah, I'm already on the East Coast. Like, might as well jump somewhere and like hang out. So
yeah, well, that's fucking awesome. First of all, that you created opportunities for yourself to be able to travel for work. Like, I'm always envious of anybody who gets to just like travel for work. He gets to travel every so often for Ubisoft
fun
and
stuff,
doing some dope shit.
Yeah,
I get to travel more just like between San Diego or like Santa Fe, New Mexico. So not really travel. It's kind of within there. But any little opportunity I get to go to some like something for work is cool. But
yeah, we did 200 days last year, and it'll be probably 180 days this year.
Wow.
So
damn, that is a lot.
Like half the year.
Yeah, just about. And then I like intersperse, intercontinental vacations in between there. So
you like top dog, or you like the one that you're at the top, or you joined, or you started this with other people?
No, so this is my company, and then we've had several partnerships since then. So and I also created other companies aside from them, so they can all help support each other.
Right.
So this is 100 Eats was the first one, which is now 100 Inc. We changed over from just food because now we're doing more like lifestyle brands, like New Balance is a client, and other like not just food halls, but like shopping malls like Del Amo Fashion Center and Simon Malls. So they're clients of ours too. So yeah, we changed the name, but then we in 2000, after 2010, when we started in 2012, we started a nonprofit that gives scholarships to people in hospitality industry or any artistic industry.
That's rad.
Oh, nice.
And so, but that's a kind of helpful way, because in order to throw big public events, you have to have a charity partner to get permits. So those kind of work in tandem together, but they also work separately from each other.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, we started a partnership with Food Beast, where they're a national food publication. So we run all of their events nationally.
Right.
So I brought in clients like Coca-Cola and Cup Noodles, and then they brought in clients like Taco Bell and Jack in the Box and Spam to the event table. So now we produce their events around the country.
No way, man.
Yeah,
that's pretty major. And you built all this since 2012?
2010 was when we started 100 Eats, and then 2012 was when we started the nonprofit. So yeah.
God damn.
I remember you
Full-time
telling me
2012.
about all this stuff on my birthday that one time you stopped by. It was like the first time I'd seen you in a long time.
Yeah.
And I kind of right before then had seen that you were doing this, but I didn't know really what it was. And, so did it start off just like as a food blog? How did you get to where you decided, okay, I'm going to just fucking, did you go to school for marketing?
I was going to school for hospitality management. I was working in restaurants, so I was like, I'm going to open a restaurant.
I remember you used to work at Navarro, right?
I used to work at Charlie Palmer.
Okay.
And I used to work at Olive Garden.
No, okay, so I saw you there. You worked near there, right?
Oh yeah.
I saw you.
I
saw you at Navarro, and then we were talking. And then it was a few years later, and you were telling. So it's always been around food, and that's fucking awesome. And like, so what was just this something that you?
Well, I went through the ranks in Olive Garden pretty quickly. That was my first my second cafe job, and it was right around high school. I graduated, and within a year I was regional trainer. Then the year after that I was AGM of our location. So I just really got into it, pretty involved. But the next step I needed was a culinary background. So then I went to culinary school for a year. But then I met all these fine dining people, and I was like, fine dining's like where I want to be. Like, so like I left Olive Garden as an AGM, and then came to be a food runner at Charlie Palmer at South Coast Plaza. But yeah, the fine dining world's just like so crazy, like so exciting to like see cool chefs and like be around like 900 different bottles of wine and meet cool people that are really passionate about what they do.
Extremely extravagant,
and the money is nuts. So the money was great at fine dining restaurants. So I was like, okay, this is more my jam. And then I was like, well, what makes good restaurants good? Like why are they like these restaurants getting awards and these restaurants not? And so that was kind of the start of it.
So what you're saying is that pretty soon you're going to be high enough and skilled enough to represent Taco Bell.
Not by any means.
I mean, oh damn! I know that their Crunchwrap Supremes are pretty freaking, that's some gourmet shit right there.
How do I know this guy works in fine dining, travels all around the world to see the best restaurants, and your ass just lights up when he says, "Oh yeah, Taco Bell's a client." I just see this glimmer in his eye, like, "Oh my god, this is my in."
It's just like in Demolition Man. He's like, all restaurants are Taco Bell in the future.
You're just slowly just trying to steer the culture in that way, and I keep telling you, it was satire, man. It's okay, like. You can find another dream.
Pretty soon people are going to be too broke to afford fine dining, man. They're going to be like getting freaking double-decker tacos and be like, this is a delicacy. And they're going to finally see what I was talking about all these years.
Well, and I don't think that's untrue. I just think, I mean, like, there's just different kinds of creativity,
There you go. I like it. You can appreciate, you get respect to it.
I absolutely
Innovation.
do.
Little known fact about the movie Demolition Man is actually, they don't talk about this in it. It was cut from it, but the president is Donald Trump in that movie.
I'm not surprised.
No, not really. No, oh man, no, you guys got way too excited. I'm sorry, I had to burst your bubble. Yeah, no.
I mean,
it seems true though, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
could be close.
Anyways,
it seemed a little bit better in the movie though.
Well, man, so you got an agency, right?
Yes,
is that what
I
you
have
call
an
it?
agency. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get started? Going from running food to that.
I would say our transition was in.
Whoops. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
What the hell was that?
It's the speaker.
I'd say probably around 2015 when we started our partnership with Food Beast. We were like growing pretty fast. We were taking on like from our 500 person events to like 10,000 people.
Oh wow.
So it was a big increase in like our bandwidth, and then we started doing national events. And then when we started doing more events that were not tied to Food Beast, so like New Balance was outside of that, and bigger clients like Simon Mall and stuff like that. So when they started asking us to take on more of their work, we were already doing restaurant marketing and PR for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of helped us get from like the restaurant scene to like the corporate scene.
Yeah, just to branch into any.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's when we decided like, and that was recently, probably within the last year or two, that we were like, okay, like, we want to be respected as a national agency. We are already taking on large clients that other people can't get, doing more creative things than they would do. We deserve that title and that option,
So is that oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to say it's a hell of a client list. I think you earned that.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Is that the ideal, thing for you to go for, is the corporate side of it, as opposed to, trying to like maybe build up like a smaller mom and pop store or something? Obviously, because the money's probably more there with the corporations and stuff too.
Yeah. I also would say that the flexibility to be more creative is there as well.
Okay.
So
that's interesting. I would have thought it to be the opposite, just off of my assumption, just because of the fact that they're corporations that kind of like very rigid when it comes to their.
I think there's a new mentality in corporate business structure. Like they see the impact that like mom and pop shops have with their creative marketing strategies.
Yeah.
And now like call on agencies like us or publications like Food Beast who are making waves in their own way to be like, how can we be cool like you? Or how can you help us be more cool?
Or how can we make this more exciting and authentic?
Exactly.
Just kind of like going and redoing their menu every so often, or just adding like is that what you guys essentially do for them?
Yeah. So on the restaurant level, we do a lot of consulting, even from the like they're called developers. So like food hall developers or centers that have like multiple locations. Like they bring us on to consulting because they're like trying to figure out what's cool and how we can help them make it cool.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger brands like Taco Bell, Coca-Cola, like they ask us like we need to target this thing in this way. What are some options of things you would do to like hit all these benchmarks, right? Like this demographic in this area with this kind of X, Y, and Z thought. And then we present several options, and then, if those options land at the right price, then we get that contract. So.
And how do you, so do you go about doing this through like surveys and stuff like that? Or do you just, how do you get your information about like what's, being received well?
So largely we use the references that we get through Foodbeast. So because they have such a large demographic and reach like all over the country, we're able to pull certain data of like what performs well in different places and who resonates with certain kinds of content, what people in different areas like to do, what they want to see, and then we kind of feed on that. And we also take cues from other national publications, other food things and events that are happening in the area too. So
I have a question too, that's something that actually happened to me yesterday, because I still work in a restaurant. And so we, I guess have this new marketing plan, or this person that created these surveys, free appetizer if you take the survey, but they take it right there on the spot. And I just want to know, like, is there really ever a specific reason? I guess because you were saying demographic, that kind of does make sense, but like it straight up like asks them on there, like, what is your ethnicity? Like, does that really matter for anything? Like, what are they looking for with that?
They're looking typically for a marketing agency. They want to know like how to speak to your core demographic the best, and so they build a plan that speaks to that. So if that's with like visual imagery, like if you're going to have an ad and it's going to have a certain like color person or type of model, it'll probably be in your core demographic. A lot of shopping malls right now are targeting like the Asian demographic, so a lot of their marketing tools, their marketing videos like have Asian people in it, because that's the market they're trying to reach, because then it's easier for your target market to visualize themselves consuming or being part of your product.
I guess that's always been the way that it was, but I just kind of, when I was reading that, I was like, well, this is gonna like piss some people off when they're filling this out at the table. Like, what the fuck?
I think they're used to that.
Yeah, I think everybody is. It's hard to escape that. We're definitely not there as like a culture yet. There are still, some, groups of thought that do travel and are like kind of directly tied to ethnicity, because in a way that is still kind of generally tied to other things like socioeconomic status and cultural values and stuff like that.
Unless it's for tacos, because everybody fucking loves tacos.
Well, I mean, everybody loves tacos, and that's not saying that everybody is one thing or another, but if you had to make broad sweeping generalizations, like that's one of the like key indicators that like you can pretty reliably bank on still.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty heavy, like with like even billboards, like at McDonald's, when they do billboards in Santa Ana, they're in Spanish, and when they do it in Garden Grove, they're in Vietnamese or whatever. There's just like they do that on purpose, and the only way they know that is because in their stores they know those people consume those products.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes total sense too, like because of the demographic of the area for sure. I guess we were also just like looking at it from my place. It's like, okay, it's clearly like 90% Asian people that come into this place. Like, I don't really need to be asking that question on the survey too. I was just curious. So okay, cool, good to know. But yeah, so that's fucking awesome though. Like you decided to just do this from basically not having any,
marketing experience.
No marketing experience. Just moving.
Yeah. What's the story of like that transition? Like
yeah. So I was in restaurants. Basically going to visit as many restaurants I could in a short amount of time, trying to figure out like what made restaurants good. And while I was doing that, I was taking pictures of it everywhere. I didn't want to post any reviews or anything, because I feel like dining is kind of like art, just like it's the chef's creation of like their, artistic expression, and like how we consume it as consumers it's based on everything that we've learned or done before. So it's still up for your own interpretation. So I'm typically not the person that's like, this is awful, like don't go here, unless they like really make me mad in some weird way. Like one restaurant like totally like made fun of my mom for asking questions at the dinner table, and was like calling her out, and I was like, yo, like really, like, oh, like this is like, now I'm like pissed off, like you upset me. But I mean, other than in extreme situations like that, I mean, I've always encouraged people
to keep it positive.
Yeah, explore their own palate, figure out what they like and what you want to do.
It takes a lot
until someone farts in your salad.
Yeah.
That's kind of a,
it takes
there
a
is
lot,
a line.
for sure, just because, for the most part, like, I do, I work in the industry as well. I've done it since I was 18 years old, so I know that some people can be fucking annoying and like expect some ridiculous shit. Like they just don't even have a pair of eyes to see that you're fucking busy. Like you can't like literally be there at that fucking exact moment that they want something because you're doing something else. But I have noticed a lot that like servers are starting to, the younger, generations of servers are starting to, in a lot of the not so fine dining restaurants, are starting to become entitled, like they feel like they just deserve to just show up and just kind of hang around, and if people ask them to do something, it's like, oh god, they're so annoying, they're so needy. It's like, you're doing your fucking job. Like this is your job.
You're getting paid like disproportionately well to do a kind of easy job.
Absolutely.
Most servers. There are some servers who have like a very difficult
completely
job and they do it well, but
I do have to clarify and say though that, because I don't want people to take this the wrong way, like the people who have never worked in the industry that always try to make the argument that like, tipping is not necessary or that they don't want to tip, because it does suck the way the system is set up that, if you do not tip your server, then they are literally going to be paying money out of their taxes to fucking serve you. You know, if they don't make the percentage of their sales, like they're literally paying to work, and that fucking sucks. Yeah, like over the last few years, I've just been getting more and more and more just wrecked when it comes to tax season. Like I'm like, fuck, how the fuck am I going to do this? Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get how you just get fucking you get fucked for working so much.
Yeah, and it's not easy either. I mean, you just have to deal with not only the people that are consuming, but also like everybody in the kitchen and everybody at the bar, or whatever the case may be. Like there's so many variables, and then like you have to be at some level of happy the whole time, and like there's very few jobs that force you to be like that consistently,
right?
Like even in retail, like there's not a constant flow of people that you're like, I can escape and whatever. Like in restaurants, you have like 3 to 6 to 10 tables at a time. You're like rolling through and talking to everybody, and like you have to be some level of whatever, and that's hard.
And it's tough because you're inherently getting a customer base that has a low blood sugar and is just ready to snap. You're catching a lot of people on some of their most like irritable times of their day. You know?
But so is it okay to say that you're a food critic?
Not at all. I'm absolutely not a food critic.
Okay, so you're not a food critic.
Not a food critic because I don't ever talk negative about restaurants.
That's what I was going to say, though.
The whole premise of like what we built it on was like building relationships with other people, especially chefs and people in the food industry, have helped my business grow. And so so just positive marketing. See, that's what I like, though. That's what I kind of tried to do. At least that's what I'm focused more on when it comes to art, because you're saying that it is an art, and I totally agree with that as well. Something that's unique, that stands out. That's why there's a bunch of fucking people running around all over the place and trying to go and do that. And the Yelp culture too, like where it's just like everybody thinks that they're fucking Anthony Bourdain or some shit on there going and critiquing shit. It's like, oh god, we get it. Just say you like it, you don't like it, why, whatever. If it's good, but I'd rather tell somebody, yeah, this is really good, check it out. If it's absolutely terrible, be like, look, I had a bad experience here, but you might have a different time.
Yeah, because I mean, how many times does that happen to you? Like, you can go somewhere like 5-10 times and have great experiences, and then one time it could be fucking shitty just because anything could happen. It could
anything can happen. So many variables.
Yeah, and so that's why I always I loved. There was one time I saw a picture on Facebook a few years ago, and it was just like, home to the worst fucking meatball sandwich in the world according to so but so on Yelp, and I was like, that's genius marketing. I would go in there just for that. I would go and eat that.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, challenge accepted. I'll go eat that meatball sub and fucking love it. You know who has a great meatball sandwich is Arc.
Oh yeah,
they're
great,
super tasty. Sandwich. Yeah. But so you've already, like, I could just sit here and talk to you about just about any of these restaurants, and you already know all the fucking dope shit.
I mean, especially in OC, like, I've kind of gotten through most of the good ones that, like, I'm excited about. And I try not to go to the same restaurant twice unless I'm showing somebody else, or they, like, really have something that I'm, like, craving.
Or, like, really pork belly tacos from Taco Maria.
Yeah. I've gone there a couple times for that.
Still, like, my favorite taco I've ever had, I think. Like, I was just, like, blown away by it.
You're just a fan of that center.
Well, no, I mean, really, it's like, I'm not a fan of eat like the prices because every single day I go and like I'm like, dude, I'm just like broke as fuck now because I
Whole
go
paycheck.
Yeah, I'm just going and eating, spending all that money every day pretty much because it's just right there. You're like, fuck, I kind of want this Philly cheesesteak sandwich from Tackle Box or something. But that's fucking cool. So what would you say, like, based on your travels, like what style of food, cuisine, and culture, kind of really has stuck out to you as being some of your favorite?
I've always been a fan of like French cuisine. After going to culinary school, like every technique of any kind of cooking is like based in like French cuisine or the style of that.
Okay.
And so that's always been my favorite. I've yet to go to Europe because I know I'm going to spend a buttload of money. As an adult, I've gone as a kid, but as an adult, I haven't gone back yet. But in Japan, we had a really, really great time eating just like tons of food everywhere. So fresh sushi, and they also
France did have really good food. When I went there too, I was like in Paris. I had some tasty shit.
Yeah, I know. I just know that the bill's gonna be crazy. Like, there's so many restaurants that are like $600, $700 a person that I'm like, they're on my list, and I'm like, fuck.
Would you consider La Crêperie like French, or is that just kind of like a fusion of?
Yeah, it's kind of like fusion-ish, probably.
What's your favorite type of fusion?
Fusion?
Yeah,
probably like Mexican Asian fusion. Those ones tend to be really good.
Like that Kobe stuff, is it?
That's good. Dos Chinos is great.
Those Chinos, I feel like I've had that before.
Yeah, they're at 4th Street. They're also at Trade. They're really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, other than back to tacos,
Always comes
taco
back to
fusion,
tacos.
anything was great,
Because I know Phil's also worked a lot in his family business restaurant, right?
Yeah. No, my family, started an Italian restaurant, and
cool.
I ran that for about 5 years,
Wow.
and then so I have, I have done my, served my time in the trenches over there.
But it's like cool because we know it, like we understand what it's like. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people just go to the restaurants and like they've never served anybody before. They've never handled food. They don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
And you just want to slap those people or not go out with them when you go places. Like,
and then you're like, oh.
Yeah,
it's really one of
You gotta tip more than that.
It's one of the hardest things. Like I think bet there is to do.
To go out with people that just like are super rude or like disrespectful, and you're just like,
because they have no idea how to do that.
And then they get mad at you like when like you tip like a little bit extra, like when you get it the tip, and they're like, "What? It's fine. No, it's fine. I did the math. I pulled up my calculator. I did the math." And you're like, "No, dude, you just fucking asked this person like 5 questions about gluten-free shit when you're not even gluten-free. So shut the fuck up. Like, get out of here with that, dude." It happened.
It's crazy, man. I have yet to find anything that is significantly like way more stressful than like just getting buried in the weeds like on a Friday night on the line, and like you run out of something or something like that.
And
like,
everybody's just yelling at you, and you just want to cry, and you just want to be like, "Do you not see with your eyes? I can't do it."
And they don't care.
They don't care. It's all, man. It's
They
like that's what I'm saying. That's the part of that culture that you're just taught to like complain and get free shit. I guess that's like the one thing that I did hate about the corporate restaurants like that I've worked in, because you like kind of have to deal with that, where I've also, I've gotten away with fucking just like doing a good shrug to somebody, like, "Sorry about it, dude." Like in the little mom and pop restaurant that I worked at, it's like, you're just being ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
You get people that come by and they just like, you're like, "Nope, I already know. Like, get the fuck out of here. You're gonna come in here and start complaining about everything after you've eaten like 3/4 of the meal. Send it back, get something different."
Actually, those are some of my favorite times. Is when somebody was just being just over the top rude, just like, no way. I'm like, okay, I'm done with these people. Like, there's nothing that you can do. And so I'm just like, all right, so did you just give me free reign to just be a person back to you? Because there's no way in hell I'd let you talk to me like this, like when we weren't, exactly, on the street.
Yeah.
And so there's been a few like people who've been, lucky enough to like incur that. And God, it just that righteous fury and just getting to shit all over somebody is so satisfying,
Yeah. What was the thing I saw? That's definitely satisfying because I can picture myself.
Seeing it now.
I just did it. Like I just did it. I have some stories, but anyways, what was the thing I saw on the Instagram? Said also like 100 pounds.
Yeah, I lost. I did 100 restaurants in 100 days. I went to 100 mostly fine dining restaurants in 100 days. That was like 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
and it was a lot of food. I gained like 70 pounds. And then I did it again and I gained an additional 50 more pounds.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, and right before I had started, I was training for a marathon. So I was like probably the skinniest I ever was as an adult. And so yeah, I was like earlier, like last October, like 330. And then I lost 100 pounds since October to May.
Whoa,
Lost 100 pounds.
man.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's crazy.
Thank you.
Especially doing what you do.
Yeah,
that's like, wait, you gotta give me some, you gotta write down like the fucking how you do it. Because
intermittent fasting. That was my
intermittent
fasting and yeah, like cutting out carbs. So
you must not smoke a lot of weed.
no,
that makes it
Definitely
hard
don't.
to intermittent fast. That makes it hard to fast at all, even for like between the hours of 12 and like 3 in the morning. You know?
When you really should do. Yeah.
When you should be sleeping.
when you should be sleeping.
You'll fucking wake up high, sleepwalking, and go to the fucking fridge. You're like spam.
Yeah, and I gave up drinking too. That's the same. It has the same effect as like
Drinking.
as soon as you drink, then you're like, I'm hungry again. You know, I just had dinner, but I'm hungry again.
So would you say when you usually go to these restaurants, do you pair up with like your food, like at least one drink per meal, or is it kind of to get the full experience, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm, when I'm eating or going to, nice places, yeah, I always try to like check out their drink list and, go through their wines. I around when I was 20, I like went through the sommelier training. It's like a wine exam, international wine exam. And so,
what level are you?
Well, level 1.
Nice.
But yeah, I studied a lot and drank a lot of wine, and then kind of after that, I was like, all right, well, now I know exactly the ones I want and when I want to drink it.
So is level 1 the best?
Level 1's like the lowest.
It's
it goes up to
it's not
level 4.
easy though. Still, like if you're
Yeah, we would like it's like.
Do you know people that actually could just fucking call it out? Like,
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, in our at Charlie Palmer, we had like level 3 testing for level 4 some, so they could smell it and be like, "Oh, it's like this place in France, like in Burgundy, like this crop, like third row from wherever." Like,
what would the vodka equivalent to a fucking sommelier be?
there is not. There's
homeless.
Shit. I need to create one.
There's a spirit.
That was fucking good. Oh.
There's
man.
a CSS is a certified spirit specialist, covers all spirits, but not just vodka.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could call Tito's out from anywhere.
Do it.
Yeah, I could go start my own thing.
Hashtag sponsor me.
I'll be homeless. Straight up, man. That's crazy. The sommelier thing was always funny too, because when we would do tastings and stuff like that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin. He's actually like one of the better servers I've ever worked with, and I think it's just because he's just so like anal about everything. He's just like, he gets going and he just wants to upsell you on everything. I kind of like, I can work hard and take a lot of tables, but I'm not like the overachiever that's just like trying to sit there and upsell you on shit. It's like, I got things to do.
Yeah.
He'll sit there and break it out and tell you every fucking, about all the flavors and tannins and all this shit, and like they get all crazy like that. When I start drinking, I just start drinking to where after like really quickly, like maybe 20 minutes, it doesn't matter. I'm drinking everything. And I'm not paying attention at that point anymore for like what the taste is. I'm like, what? I thought we were partying now. I thought we were over this segment. We're just fucking getting down, dude. That's because we've done that before. That was like my job. I was supposed to be in charge of like getting the beers and the spirits, and I totally even forgot what the name of the company that we were going through for that. But yeah.
So you must have done a lot of beers and spirits.
Yes, I did. Well, I didn't really do any of the work. I said I was going to do it, and then I called these people to come in and bring us like samples, and they did. And we like had little parties when we would sit down and just decide which beers we were going to go and tap. But I don't remember actually like really doing anything beyond there other than just getting drunk. Yeah.
And then I blacked out, and I don't know what happened.
Oh, that was a different story. That was when I bartended at another place. Like, this place just at least had beer and wine. Like Joe's Crab Shack. That was a whole other thing.
I like that he made that up, and then you're like, oh no, that's another time. That's how
yeah. People like, what was your watering hole? Oh, my job. That's where I would go and just get fucked up.
I mean, I was there like 12 hours a day, like whatever.
I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are in the industry who can totally agree with what I'm saying. And I'm not, bragging about it because it was really sad and bad, but it's one of those things where if you're one of those restaurants,
this is not an endorsement.
No, this is not. Be clear. This is not an endorsement. So
these are not good times that we're talking about.
No. When you don't
this is dark and unhealthy.
Yes,
behavior.
this is totally dark and unhealthy, which is why I got out of that. And not everybody's like that. Like if you have an excessive personality, then do not start.
Maybe you shouldn't be a bartender.
Yeah. So, it's like one of those things where we were open a couple hours later than any of the other little restaurants around us. And so it would be dead all the way up till, half hour or, an hour before closing. And then all of a sudden, because everybody else was closed, they come in there after you're already, you've already been tired. You've already pre-closed everything, ready to go. And then you get a full bar. And it's all of these fucking over the years, this is the thing with some corporate restaurants, the thing that I had that was a problem with them was they started just really just fucking making everything so fucking dirt cheap to where it really just brought in a whole different, crowd. And the money was nowhere near as good for 3 times the amount of work.
Yeah. And
so the only way you're really going to, feel halfway decent, at least in your spirits, literally too, would be to just fucking, okay, well, I got to get on their level. And then as soon as you do it, you're like, oh man, yeah, this is a new day. You forget that you were just fucking, in the weeds for 3 hours, in the well and having to deal with people complaining about stupid shit. And then it's a new day. Next thing you know, waking up fucking hungover. And in the beginning, too, you could do it all the time without having to worry about that shit.
Yeah.
And then it just got bad. But I didn't mean to take this whole conversation down a dark road. Everybody's like,
twisted alleys.
I'm going to be having people write in the comments. It's like, oh, here's the AA group that I go to for David. But I am not like that anymore. I promise you. Yeah. So... So wait, which Olive Garden was it that you worked at?
The Main Place one.
You worked at it too, so you worked with Ariel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I worked at the Main Place one and then I transferred over to the Huntington one.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved Olive Garden. I haven't been in a long time.
I know, and I still crave it in weird ways.
The tour of Italy.
Fuck.
The tour of Italy. I'll go there all day and just get. I know, right? You're just you have those things that you're even though you probably eat it in so many places that are just obviously they just blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
You're still oh fuck yeah.
So that 100-day challenge, that's what started this whole thing.
Yeah,
right?
It was 100 restaurants in 100 days, and then I did it twice, and then.
And did you end up blogging about it afterwards? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I blogged while it was happening.
Oh, while it was happening.
Originally, I was doing it on my personal Facebook page, and then I had friends block me because they didn't want to see my stuff anymore. So then I created a business page to just have the food on there.
Why? Okay, so
this
why
is 2010? So it's kind of right as social media getting going. We didn't have Instagram yet. I think it was maybe just getting started. If I'm
it was. Yeah. I mean,
what was
Instagram
their deal? Do they not like knowing about good food or what?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty. You're okay. That's not for me. I worked 2 full-time restaurant jobs and went to school full-time. So there would be 2 days or a day and a half that I'd go to 7 restaurants in 2 days. So I'm posting all day long about where I'm going. So yeah, all right.
In real time.
Just kind of obnoxious.
Yeah, it would build up over the course.
So you're not posting one
a
per
day
day
because I'm not going to eat one a day. I'm working doubles at restaurants. I'm going to school in between. I'm ending my shift at 1, starting my other shift at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, because I worked at Starbucks too.
And you still managed to do...
And you're running a food blog where you're going to 100 restaurants in 100 days.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane. So
why didn't you space it out?
I mean, I think I wanted to just actually, the All-Star game was here at the Angel Stadium that summer before or something. Mm-hmm. And they did a challenge where if you went to... They made these life-size Mickeys. Do you remember that? They made these life-size Mickeys. They were 5.5 feet tall or whatever.
Wow.
And they had them custom painted with all representing each team in baseball, plus 3 or 4 extra ones.
Huh.
And they were all over Southern California, from San Diego to LA, at these iconic museums and whatever at the stadium.
Mickey Mouses?
These huge Mickeys, yeah. And then they made them into bobbleheads later. But if you went and took a photo of yourself with each Mickey and all 50 Mickeys, you got box seats to the All-Star game.
Whoa. What?
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So then I started to go and catch them all, and over the course of a week. And then on the Saturday, I had to go to this really far one. It was this botanical garden in Pasadena or something. And it was my last one, and I was took a picture. And as I was on the freeway driving back, I posted it, and I saw that this girl had just posted it for me.
No shit!
And won. So then they sent me the consolation of getting a bobblehead of one of the Mickeys.
What?
That was your actual. Dude, what?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh,
so that was like
wow.
the spark of like, okay, I want to set a goal. I want to do this thing. Like, I wasn't getting the classes that I need to in school, and I was like, whatever, like, fuck it. I'm gonna still want to do something that I'm learning. I get to do something fun and like make it fun. And
like you were just determined to get a prize from that. That was the motivation to launch your business and start your whole life. So,
how many people do you actually think went on that rat race?
I have no idea.
Like, but that's what you gotta wonder, because you're like,
you are so proud of yourself for coming up with a rat race, aren't you, right now?
No, I was thinking about the movie. Literally, I'm thinking like Mr. Bean fucking trying to go.
Because it was Mickey Mouse.
God, Mickey Mouse.
See, no, I'm not as. I have to admit, I was not paying attention to that.
Okay, you know what? I'm looking at your face. I'm telling everybody. Oh, okay, I believe you.
Yeah,
you didn't mean to, but
I literally.
Good job then.
Now, I'll pat myself on the back anyways, though.
Yeah,
I'll do that anyways. I was just thinking about Mr. Bean, like going around and fucking, trying to take pictures with all these Mickeys and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, that's another thing. Like when it comes to that stuff, like how. I wonder how many people would actually go do it. In my mind, I would have thought like, "Oh, I got this." Like, like nobody's gonna fucking do this. Like I'm gonna do it. Nobody's got free time on their hands like me, and then fucking find out. Like, but then that would be the total Daffy Duck scenario, like where you just like think it's gonna. You have these expectations.
And I've got it. One more left.
Like, oh yeah, right, Buster. I'm gonna get it, and then she's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Did you ever? Okay, you should like find this girl too. Just tell her like, you know what?
Now I'm over it. I can buy box seats to whatever game I want.
Exactly. The best revenge is living well. She's like, who are you? You're
okay
like, you
now.
ruined my life. Yeah, no, I like this.
And then so like after the 100 Eats thing, like what were the steps from then to? Did you have counsel? Did you like somebody say, hey, you can turn this into an actual business?
Yeah, the first part was like, so I did it twice, and then I met a lot of people like in media, like Eater reached out and did a story. They did a really negative story, but they wrote a story anyway. And then the Register wrote a story, and Los Angeles Magazine wrote a story. So a lot of people like wanted to get in touch with me and like write a column or whatever about what I was doing. And so after making those relationships, then it there was like kind of this weird thing about like, okay, how do I monetize or whatever? And then the first thing that I thought of, we had a lot of events, people reaching out to us and being like, hey, can you post on your site or your Facebook page that you have that you're going to participate or help with this event? And I was like, yeah. And then then a couple events were like, okay, well, we'll give you like $500. Can you post on your page? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, okay, well, that's cool.
Was it a while before you like where you were just paying out of your pocket to do this sort of thing, or
I
did
paid
you
for every meal I paid for the first
what
200
the fuck?
days?
How did you
I was working 2 full-time restaurant jobs and like having no other life but this, so
right
it made it
yeah.
it made it okay.
That's why I'm broke now, is because I had those jobs where I was like, I thought I was like fucking I saw a picture the other day of Scrooge McDuck, and I was like holding all this money. I was like, that's like me after every shift. And then there was like another picture of like a little homeless fucking mouse, and I was like, that's me like the next day after the bar, because that's what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, we're fine dining restaurants. I was working 2 fine dining restaurant jobs. They were crazy. Everybody's like $100 a head. every dinner.
Wow,
so
that's crazy, man. So
yeah,
you're just pulling it in and then just going and giving it back to the industry.
Yeah, then feeding it back. But it was for education. I wanted to learn.
Yeah, so. What's the coolest thing you learned like in that experience about like the marketing and agency side of things?
Well, I learned. I was originally intention was to like learn if I want like that I wanted to open a restaurant, because that was like my goal. And now learn out of that, I learned I would never open a restaurant ever.
I was just going to ask you what kind of restaurant would it be, and you're like, none.
Absolutely not.
So much work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and the returns
are not there.
They're not great.
They don't stack up to the work you put in.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's definitely very much a passion project. Whereas in marketing, you get to be really creative, and then you get to still support people and their vision. So that's really cool in its own way. Like it allows me to still be creative.
Absolutely.
And then in a restaurant, you want to build something that has like longevity over the course of a decade or 2 decades or whatever the case may be. But if you strike out, then you have to like reinvent.
You're like, I ain't got time for that shit.
And in marketing, you're constantly reinventing, right? Because new waves of marketing come in, new ways consumer like understand things. Like you have to develop all those different mentalities and then figure out how to blend, a brand's vision into those things and then replicate them in whatever way that makes sense for them. So that's different every time in every facet. So that challenge is exciting for me.
It's a little psychological puzzle that you always have to put together,
Absolutely.
you know, and it's all these different aspects of it, you know, and you can't slack on the research, and you can't slack on, you know, the creative or any of the insights you get going into it. Yeah, no, I love it too, man. That's exactly, I get that a lot.
What sort of styles or little niches have you seen that have actually taken off, or that are just more successful than others? And which ones would you like tell people to just kind of try to stay away from jumping into?
As far as like marketing tactics,
like starting their own business, if they wanted to get into they wanted to create their own like teriyaki place or something, or they're I don't know, like is there any sort of thing that just you see?
Yeah, I mean it's similar to like going to restaurants. It's like hard to do that too, because like when people are passionate about something, then it becomes successful because they live and breathe it, and some people want that life for themselves. They see themselves like, oh, I'm gonna have that place one day, and that's all I can think of. Then go and do that. I just realized that it wasn't for me.
Sure.
And especially like I've never really thought about like, okay, I'm gonna have a husband and kids and like family and whatever. Like I never had that in my, like that's never been always in the forefront, where like now I've seen or talked to especially more people like my age, even 5 years ago or even whatever, but that's their goal. Their family is their goal, and so that's a different mentality than I've ever had. And so
you're like me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, bro, like, but you're actually like successful. Like I'm still in the stages where like I'm trying to catch up, and I do know that one day I'll have, but even then I'm still thinking like I could barely fucking take care of myself. Like I forget to eat sometimes, which is why I overeat the other times. I cannot handle a fucking baby. Like there's no way. And it's like some people get mad.
Yeah.
Like some of my friends like are people that I know, they just get mad when you like if you tell them like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not, because when are you gonna settle down? When are you gonna finally have kids? Like, I don't really know if I am anymore. Like, what? Like they take personal offense at the fact that like I don't want to do that. I'm like, I'm not saying anything bad about it for you. Like,
exactly.
I just see myself more as like the cool uncle that doesn't have to take care of your crying ass later. When I go home, I can go home and do my thing and come back and reap the rewards. I'll take you out, like have fun and
exactly,
be that guy. But
that's kind of where I'm at too. So, and that's I didn't realize there was a difference there until even now that I have employees and I'm creating like a bigger company. Like I'm still the person with that in my brain, and then you can see them being like, oh well, like family time and personal time should be important to everybody. Just like my mentality of how I do things is just different.
Well, you're an innovator. You're creative. You're a creative thinker, and it's about taking all of the things that you know and love without. And I think that to your benefit, it worked out because you didn't have the degree or the background in marketing right away. You didn't go into it like with this mindset of what needs to be done already. You kind of just like actually had passion for, exposing restaurants that you enjoyed and kind of just putting it out there. And I think that that's awesome that you stuck with it, because I mean, I can imagine that, well, maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing here that there may have been people that have kind of tried to tell you what was up or what to do or like how to go about it. You're just like, shut the fuck up. Let me do my thing. Like, I'm going to do it my own way.
Yeah. I think where I benefited too from that was like, I wasn't really close to anybody that had that as their directive. My family is not in any part of that industry. And even people in the industry are more like restaurant focused and not marketing focused. So I had the freedom to kind of explore that without anybody saying anything. They just like, oh, well, that's a cool hobby. Like continue to do that, until 2012, when it was like then my full-time job, and I like quit all my restaurant jobs to like just do this. Then my like extended family got a little more concerned of like, well, what are you going to do with your life? Like, how is this making you money? Like, are you sure that this is going to be a thing? And even then I wasn't sure that it was, but I at least wanted to it was the perfect time to take a chance. Like my life was basically resetting. I had lost my job and like, like a lot of family support and all that kind of stuff. So my apartment and lots of money, so I just like it was a good time to just be like, okay, cool, well then fuck it, like nothing else to lose. I'm gonna go and dive in and figure this out.
I'm getting chills right now, like, because I have like in a somewhat of a similar position. Like, all right, I feel like I'm about to right there. Yeah, I'm relating to that. Like, it's that pivotal point where you've already kind of what you want to do, and you have all these dreams, and the only thing that's setting you back necessarily from doing that is the fact that you have to take that leap. And as I've said before on the show, that sometimes the universe will make things just so incredibly awkward that a change is just forced to happen.
Yeah.
You know, you just fucking got to do it and go with it.
Yeah.
And I think I can feel it. Like, I just sense that that's coming around the corner for me too.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's part of the chapter. That's like the thing that you have to go through to understand and learn, you know, to gain that wisdom. Because you could be taught this shit in school. But, you know, anything that you're taught in school, you cannot expect it to work exactly that way for everybody. You know,
absolutely not.
And comfortable people rarely like make big stories. Yeah. You know? And that's the thing is, you know, you're usually doing this kind of out of sort of like a desperation, sort of like, or it's like such a passion where you back yourself into that corner, you know? Yeah. And you gotta make that leap and just chase that crazy dream. Man.
Yeah. Well, you're forced to make it work. You know, you gotta figure out, okay, well, that, like, even if, like, you know, because that's how I figured out more about the licensing and permitting stuff, was because, like, okay, well, you know, if we can't get a charity to support us because the liability is too high for us to throw events, then I'm going to create my own charity. So then I have control over who says what to what, because I own both of those entities. So then we started that, and I wrote a 96-page document, 10 font legal verbiage, like submitted it to the IRS like 13 times and got denied and sent it back.
You did all that by yourself?
And I did all that by myself, sitting in a room, just like researching.
You want to go take the bar exam too?
How do you, what's your, okay, so you strike me as the type of guy who just like does not wait to find somebody else who knows how to do it, or doesn't say, oh, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
like, you do not strike
me
as that type of person.
You're actually proactive.
Yeah, I hate people in my company that do that too, like the employees I have, and they're like, I don't know how to do it. And I was like, yo, bro, figure it out. Like, I've taught you here, and I've taught you well enough for you to, like, figure out the pieces. Like, yo, Google that shit.
You're a true entrepreneur. I mean, and it's true. Like, I think that when you figure out, once you do a little bit of it, it's just like anything else. Like I said before, I can't draw for shit. And then once you, like, start to do it and you, like, get that confidence in there, it's like once you Google something, you're like, wait, I learned it. I learned something. I figured it out. You know, and then you're like, okay, I could do that. I had those tools. They're right there. Like, I could really look up anything. What was just holding me back before, or still, in most cases, just the fact that, you know,
it's your own mentality,
laziness and fear.
It's everybody thinking you have to go to school for something. Like, that's the only way to learn. I mean, know?
I didn't get in any of that, like, kind of parallel understanding until, like, maybe in the last year. Like, I didn't even ever call myself a CEO until somebody handed me a business card, and it was a blogger, and it said CEO on it, and I was like, bro, you have like 150 followers and like 0 employees and no income, and you're calling yourself a CEO, and I didn't even call myself a CEO.
That's like, that fake it till you make it shit, though, right? So, I mean, it varies. That varies for different people.
Yeah,
because in a sense, it could have been the same thing for you, but you weren't faking it. You were just kind of like.
I would say 80% of the times I've seen somebody with CEO, like, I've rolled my eyes, because it's like, okay, you're CEO of that, like, clothing brand that you started 3 years ago but didn't really do anything with.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So, I mean, I just, you know, you gain that over time based on, like, what your understanding is of whatever you're doing, you know?
It's funny because back onto that thing, you know, remember Jonathan, who was on here? Jonathan Felix, like, how he started his own company. He was always so, like, he was just, like, obsessed with Entourage and, like, Ari Gold, and he just, like, you know, like, loved that, like, flashy, like, you know, strike a deal, let's go ahead, no, we're gonna negotiate this shit out. And he was also always, like, super focused on trying to give everybody in his circle a specific title. And so, like, I was just the really picky, opinionated guy when it came to, like, the music and art, like, and who would just say what I thought. And he was just like, yeah, you're my creative consultant. And I was just like, what? Like, I was just laugh, like, creative consultant, until, you know, it was funny. Like, I started seeing, like, people, like, a couple other friends had handed me a business card, said creative consultant. And I think that in a large way, though, what ended up becoming of me, not only because my actual job title is art consultant, like, what I'm doing outside of that, like, I do consult a lot of people on, you know, whatever they're, like, you know, creative things.
You rose to the occasion.
Yeah, I rose to the
occasion.
For the
job you wanted. Yeah.
I came out as the creative consultant, even though I used to be like, oh, yeah, creative consultant, like, what the fuck is that, you know? But anyways, yeah, hey, I just thought that was funny.
That's how the president got there. So
yeah, exactly.
Damn, man. So like, what's your process going through, like, when you're like, okay, I don't know this thing, because, like, that 96 document on how to, like, apply. Yeah,
that's like some extra
that's
shit.
That's crazy. Like, where do you start with that?
You start with how to start a nonprofit. I Googled that first, and then because most of the nonprofit documents for any nonprofit is public, so I read basically, like, probably like 30 or 40 different nonprofit documents, and then realized quickly, like, we were supporting an artistic industry which is already overserved in the nonprofit market. We really wanted to focus on working individuals in that market, so not targeting like high school students, not targeting even necessarily college students, but people that like already had taken the risk on this being their passion and like wanted to support those people. So that was already like another like niche that we were a part of. And as long as you can start to identify a certain niche in that an underserved group, you can already do that. So I was like, okay, well, we're onto something. So now we're for sure like not for sure. We are the one of the only nonprofit organizations that provides scholarships for working individuals in the artistic industry.
That's fucking rad.
So crazy, but the more I was like, okay, well, there's got to be a program that does this. And then I was like, the more I researched, the more I looked, I was like, there's fucking not.
That's the thing. See, that's the awesome thing right there. Because when, it's that fear of, something already have been done, it's something's already been done before. Because that's kind of what you're taught by a lot of people. At least like when I was growing up, that's where I kind of just had this negative view about trying to do anything or be unique or be original, is because you're always taught like, well, everything's already been done before.
And it's a real convenient excuse to not do a damn thing.
Yeah. But you actually believe it. Like you just kind of also like at the time you think like anything you can think of, it's already been done before. And you know what? It's probably true, but it may not necessarily have been done exactly the way that you're doing it or in the particular region that you're in, And so there's definitely, you can, if you have a good idea, you can completely like, just customize it to your own shit to where it's not like anything else.
Yeah, and that's
like Taco Bell.
Dream.
American dream. Right?
And meeting people too, you start to see how kind of rare that drive is, because I can tell you've got a certain your brain works in a way that is very like marketing focused. Like you had an aptitude towards that too.
Yeah,
and it's that figure it out mentality that I think drive it's not nearly as common as you would think,
Yeah.
I think it's one through line that has like impressed me with all the people that I kind of like surround myself with. It's that mentality that you don't come by that often either. And so, every once in a while when you've got that, you'll stumble across an idea. You'll be like, no, somebody has to have done this already, right?
Yeah.
Right? You keep
and
looking,
I think,
you just go, oh no.
As a kid in whatever elementary school or even high school, like those things set you apart because you're different than everybody else. So then there's this like weird understanding of you, and you tie back to like, oh, well then something's wrong with me, or I'm not good enough, or whatever. But
so do you think it's like in a sense it was from overcompensating, or like
then you, as an adult, you have the freedom to explore. You have the freedom to understand. You have like I had money to then be able to be like, okay, well, fuck this. Like I want to learn how I want to learn, and I don't care if like college is how they want to teach me. Like I want to understand the world in a different way and receive the information how I'm going to know it best.
You have to be somewhat indifferent to be a good, entrepreneur, I imagine, or at least, any sort of person that's creative or, innovative in any way. You got to really just say, I don't give a fuck what's already been done, because that is the distinction between like he was saying, a lot of our friends or people that we know, who are starting their own things and doing shit, like, as opposed to a lot of people who I knew started stuff, and they just went down and followed all the steps on how it's already been done without like having any of their own vision for that, and then you see that it just doesn't really go anywhere. You got to have your own, you just got to kind of say, fuck that, I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I gotta hope for the best.
Absolutely. So are you going to be traveling anywhere soon? Any cool places?
Not necessarily cool places. We have we're doing a lot of projects right now for Coca-Cola, and they have me going to like North Carolina, Arizona, New Mexico, and then another whole like month-long project in San Diego. So yeah, I'll be working around there, and then typically I travel for my birthday, which is in November, so might be in like Paris or something like that too.
Very cool. We gotta take that Euro trip you were talking about.
I know,
that much needed one. You gotta see Paris, Yeah, you gotta back up all that French styling that you've kind of gotten so into.
I know, and they have like one of the only Disneylands I haven't been to yet, so.
I heard that one's okay. I heard, what was the one? Hong Kong.
I heard the same thing. Yeah.
Shanghai just went to.
Was it Shanghai or Hong Kong that I heard was like, or no, one of those ones over a little further east than Paris was like the best one.
Yeah, Shanghai has like the castle that's like twice the size as any other castle. And that was pretty crazy. And they have like the craziest.
I can't wait to go to fucking Shanghai.
The Mickeys are like 9 feet tall over there.
Ever since fucking
all their baseball Mickeys.
Ever since the not Spectre, but what was it? Skyfall. I was like, I gotta go to Shanghai.
Oh.
That skyline looks. Maybe it's just the way that they shot it too, but it looks fucking. It's.
I'm sure it's one of those things that's pretty impressive. Like
it's beautiful.
person.
I'd totally go back. I stopped in Taiwan on the way there, and I would go
It's
back there too.
it's kind of like the bridge from where we are to like that futuristic element, like Fifth Element type shit, and
Absolutely.
fucking Blade Runner type stuff. It's
absolutely, man.
It's already like on that path right there.
Yeah, them and Japan too is just
Yeah.
like that. So
I want to go to Japan so bad.
Japan is awesome.
Yeah, and so I know you don't like to say anything bad about anything, and I'm not trying to get you to specifically say anything bad, but like, what's your favorite place you've been and least favorite place that you've gone for work?
You don't have to use a name.
Yeah.
Well, Marché Moderne in Orange County, Corona Del Mar. That's probably my favorite restaurant. They're really consistent. They're French, like bistro style. I worked there for a year when they were at South Coast Plaza, and now they moved locations. But
I didn't actually mean like restaurants. I meant like
what kind of restaurants?
Like I meant like places like states or countries that you've traveled to for
Oh,
it. But yeah, so wait, but
I was thinking.
saying that you meant
okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't crazy.
no, you're not. No, so I want you to finish that. So one more time, what's the name of the restaurant? Because we're talking good, positive stuff.
Yeah, Marché Moderne up in Corona Del Mar. As long local wise, that's probably
Good luck spelling that, motherfuckers.
I know. What is it real quick?
It's like a French bistro style
Marché
restaurant.
Moderne.
Yeah, Marché Moderne. Yeah,
Wait, so what
bougie place.
in the course of all this, what's like the worst restaurant experience you've had? Like just the craziest fucking story. You don't have to say who.
It tends to be like the service stuff that really bothers me. Like, like that. Yeah, it was a restaurant in LA, and it was the only bad Yelp review I've ever written in like 10 years. And they my mom was like, oh, like at the bar, and she's like, oh, what's that and what's that? And the bartender like rolled his eyes and was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What is it? Like, what do you mean? And then she comes back and she's like, I shouldn't ask him any questions. And then she's like, excuse me. And he's like, what do you want? And she was going to order like something. And I was like, yo, bro.
That place
I
needs
spend
to get
so much
rid of
money
that
on
dude.
restaurants. Like, don't talk to her like that. What are you doing?
Like that. I mean, because if you work in a restaurant, you also have to understand that there are people like that. Like when I go to a restaurant, when I used to go, when I first started serving with my parents, it's like, they just didn't know. They didn't realize like certain things may have been annoying or even may have come off rude or whatever. They definitely weren't doing it intentionally or trying to be bitches. So, it goes a little bit both ways. I had to try to like over the course of, the years, I had to teach them what was, customary, what's acceptable, what's, rude, how we perceive things. And they, acclimated to that. Whereas like a server should also understand that like some people are actually just curious about what's in your goddamn food.
Yeah, and your fucking restaurant's empty. So like, why not? Like, we could be your only tip for the night. Like, don't get crazy.
I think I know why.
Yeah, perhaps, let's just hope for the sake of that restaurant that was like a bad night.
They closed. They're gone.
Oh, well, that's what happens.
Say love you.
Blast, piss in the grave, man. Why not?
And so, being the type of person that you are, how you just kind of fell into this, you just rolled with it, do you see yourself getting interested or, becoming passionate about anything else that's in any sort of other field other than food?
Yeah, I mean, we started in food, and I mean, as we're getting bigger contracts, I want to put more support in the nonprofit because like I can't put all my time there, but I want to build a team to work on that. We actually started doing a lot more like project management consulting, restaurant consulting. So I started another like consulting firm basically. So we have a firm, and I'm going to hire somebody just to do that and like help. I'll be there, but help to manage just all the day to day there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think we'll have probably like 4 companies altogether by the end of this year. So yeah,
I think you're allowed to call yourself a CEO at this point. That's very like,
before you leave, you can get my business card. I'll give you mine. It says art consultant on there. Probably the most like legit title I'll ever have on there. Because when I actually create my own title, I don't think I'll ever really put like anything like that. I'll make up something silly. Like, I'll put like fucking dope wizard on it or something.
Dope wizard.
Like, and then hand it, and I'll go and like just hand it to fucking people that are booze bougie and be like, yeah, deal with it. You know, like say something about it.
I'll take that business.
You know, if I take that lead, yeah. So, you know, dude, yeah, it's been awesome having you on. We're coming right down to the end of this now, and I want to know if there's anything that you'd like to let people know what to look out for. You know, if you have any specific recommendations for any restaurants that you're working with right now at the moment, any specific recommendations on meals or whatever.
Yeah, well, just stay connected with the 100 Ink Agency.
Okay.
On Instagram and on Facebook. That's where we post all of our like client content.
Your pictures look really good, by the way. I like look at them and I'm like, I can't look at this anymore.
Yeah, we do some cool stuff there, and then we got some big projects coming to Orange County soon, so we'll keep you updated there too.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And where and your personal Instagram for people to follow you and
is 100 Eats and is our like food Instagram, and then Bobby Been There is my personal Instagram.
I love that.
So yeah.
Excellent.
That's one of those moments too where you're just like, nobody's done that yet? Fuck yeah. Yeah. That's so great.
That was definitely
It's either that or Bobby's World, right?
I got like Bougie Bobby Bonus. I was like, somebody was like,
What's the guy on Parks and Rec? Bobby. Oh no, that's Bobby Newport. Never mind. It was just ringing in my head because I just watched that again. Bobby Newport. Anyways, well, thanks, man. You know, you
Thanks
could
for
always
having me.
Absolutely, and you came on right as soon as you got back from Belize. So thanks for gracing us. I knew this was gonna
we
be fun.
appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely was.
You know, you guys could always find us on all social media platforms. Well, except for Twitter, right?
At Let It Bleed Cast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Like I say every week.
Oh wait, we do have Twitter. I'm not a Twitter guy.
And make sure that you guys subscribe to this show on iTunes, Stitcher, your Spotify, like however you guys want to get podcasts. However you're listening to it right now. If it's on a TI-84 graphing calculator, just make sure you hit subscribe while you're at it, okay? That is how we do, okay? And you'll get these episodes into your inbox every single Thursday, except for the Thursdays that we don't.
Except for the
Thursdays we skip.
Yeah, whoops.
Yeah, exactly. And you could always find me on Instagram at hoodratstuff with 3 Fs. Follow the art page of all of my friends. I like to post all of my friends' amazing psychedelic cool art. You know, if you see something you like, you can definitely reach out to them and have them do something cool for you, whether it's a design for a logo or a poster or any sort of commissioned pet portrait. You know, whatever you want. And that's at psychedelic_lions_den.
Actually, you just reminded me. I was doing some research like earlier today for another project that I was working on, and I came across on Pinterest like somebody had pinned a drawing of Joey's. I was oh shit. That's
dude,
cool.
he's honestly like not
I just
even
came across it in the wild.
Yeah, not even trying to really just, you know, build him up because he's my friend. But as far as somebody who's got an iconic style already, like I've never seen as many people, for any artist that I know personally, that has had like random people from all over the world change their profile photos on Instagram or, you know, Facebook to his artwork, because it really does speak to a lot of people. You know, it's surreal. The colors are amazing. It's like, you know, very empowering to women. It's awesome stuff. But anyways, yeah.
Check them out. Hot Wax. If you guys are looking for me, that's at Nobody Cares Phil on Instagram, and you can flip that around to Phil Nobody Cares on Twitter, where you will find me screaming about all the, you know, things that I'm up to. Yeah. Just whatever is making me mad that day.
Well, you know, thank you everybody for tuning in. I think I'm going to get off here and go spend all the money, very little money that I have on food now, because we've been talking about it and I'm fucking hungry. Probably go look at 100 Eats and check out, you know, the nearest place to go, just not be able to sleep tonight. So, thank you all for tuning in. As always, let it bleed.